And we're off, I think. It's 9 a.m. here in Los Angeles. Or 9:01 for some of you guys, probably, because it's dependent on the delay. It is Thursday. Women's Forum is tonight. It's the third Thursday of the month, ladies, at Bond. Women's Forums, a highlight of the month, I presume, because the men's forums are so cool. So I know that the women's forums got to be good. Men's forums are first Thursday. It's 2025 AD, and we're gonna have a fun loosey-goosey, the Hake Report. You can call in 1-888-775-3773 if you're listening live between the hours of 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific time. 11 to 1 Central. Wow, that's a little loud. Which is noon to 2 Eastern time. Yeah, I'm showing footage of, we're at the beach. January 2025 AD. Hopefully I talk less. I'm pretty sure I do talk less in this footage here. I like to shoot a little B-roll, you might call it, I guess. I will read your super chats if you'd like to super chat. I did see some super chats came in. I appreciate that. Very cool. Okay, thehakereport.com for ways to find it, or just go directly to buymeacoffee.com/thehakereport. All right? All right. The views expressed on this show do not represent Bond, JLP, the JLP Network, Punchie TV, American Anchor Baby, Derek the Black Nazi Coon Flat Earth producer. What's up, Kevin? Okay. Or anything. It's just take everything that you hear with a grain of salt. I don't know. Like old communist, what's his name, featured in GQ, Woke Bay, Hassan Piker, Young Turk's nephew, ridiculous communist, Antifa sympathizer, I think. I don't know. I don't know what all he is. But he said something about himself that I think is true. You know, because communists say stuff, they have good quotes. They have high verbal IQ. They're not Christian. I'm just a dummy with a mic. Something like that. Hassan Piker was, like, confronted over his, I don't know, anti-Israel stuff or something. Pro-Hamas mess. And, you know, I interviewed that gal, Stardust, and she was going after Hassan Piker because Stardust, being a liberal gal, but you know, trying to be halfway decent, I guess, gal, at least, she is like, that's not right. You're not supposed to support killing and violence. And he said, I'm just a dummy with a mic. I'm not to be listened to. So that's how I feel about me. Commies say nothing that's true. They have a few facts. I don't know, like, oh, yeah, I don't know. They imitate the truth. The way that Satan imitates the truth. To deceive you. To deceive you. So that's my disclaimer. Don't consider anything that I say an endorsement necessarily. I don't even represent myself. All right? I come back later. I'm like, I don't know what I was thinking when I said that or wrote that. I see stuff that I wrote on the internet. I was like, I wrote that? You know, because you write stuff on the internet. Big mistake. So you guys call in. You don't represent me. And you guys super chat and I read it and I'm like, yeah. It doesn't mean that I agree. Trump said right to some guy who's like, Obama is one of these Muslims. And Trump's like, right. But he was just saying, whatever. So, nice. See, I'm nice and far back, sort of. Yeah, and stay away from the ledge, the cliff ledge. By the way, kids, we're looking at beautiful San Onofre State Beach, I guess is what it's called. We're on the cliffs, moseying on down to the beautiful briny sea. So, anyway, guys, let's just get right on with the show!
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, how you guys doing? I'm fine. Terry shouted out my shirt in a super chat to JLP. Thank you. My shirt thanks you. You know, I was looking at pictures of Jesus on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. Just a quick side note, okay? And I was like, I wonder if Jesus shaved his neck or trimmed his neck. You know, because people are like, slanderers call people neckbeard in order to disrespect them. And I consider it kind of anti-white or anti-hairy people. Okay, because you don't necessarily want to shave your neck. The guy from James Bond, the good one, the world famous James Bond version that everybody should know or does know, or at least should know. The young people might not, I'm not sure. That guy, Sean Connery, I saw on the back of his neck, he had like the little bit, he had like the hairs. And it was kempt. It was not unkempt, but he had hairs on the back of his neck, hair on the back of his neck. I'm like, oh, I don't need to shave my neck or trim it or whatever. Back in the good old days when manly men were hairy and not shaving their hair off of their body. Sick. So anyway, I was just wondering, because all these people with perfectly trimmed beards, and it's like all cut right here, since they don't have a chin line or a jawline, they cut right here to make it look like they have one, but then it's not convincing, and it looks awkward. No offense, shout out. No offense meant, shout out. I disclaim. Take everything with a grain of salt. Just, I don't know. So I let it grow a little bit further, and then I just I fade it. I fade my neck. I learned the word fade from, I don't know, is that the black thing? Did Don Fry, the MMA hero, trim or shave his neck? Whatever. Just being silly, guys. Never mind. Never mind. In the world? Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it. Let me just do this quick thing, because I don't like to get too far behind on my keeping up with myself, okay? You can catch me on the multiple platforms. It should be live on Punchie.tv. I believe I did see that. As well as pilled.net. Yep. And the other platforms. The main ones that people watch are YouTube and Rumble, maybe DLive, and that. YouTube and Rumble. Okay. So let's get to some calls. David in Texas is on the line over here. David, how you doing, man? Thanks for calling.
Early morning to you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you. Did you say early morning? Did you say early morning?
Well, it is for you.
Oh, it's
11,
9.
It's
It's
11
10 after
o'clock over
9.
here.
Yeah, it's.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Although I do get
it's
up
still
about
early.
4 or so.
I know. I'm sure you do.
Yeah. Nice.
So you said you're trying to keep up with yourself. According to Jesse, sir, there is no self for you to keep up with.
That's a fair point.
Hey, so I don't know. I'm sure that I heard of Black Israelites, Hebrew Israelites, prior to listening to Jesse. But I heard that call, one of the last calls on the JLP show, and a guy from Texas called in. So what, can you kind of share what you think or what you understand their beliefs to be? Because I know, like, the real Jews, I mean, there are some Christian, some Jews that have converted over to Christianity and believe in Jesus. But so what did the Black Hebrew Israelites believe? I mean, that guy was pretty crude.
Yeah, that was crude. Different.
Is that a shared consensus, or
No.
is that maybe just him kind of being an outlier, or what do you think?
He thinks of himself as different. We're referring to Ron in Texas. He tries to be a loner. He tries to be different from the other, or he thinks of himself as different from the other Black Hebrew Israelites.
Okay.
Many Black Hebrew Israelites are Christians. They believe in
That's kind of
Jesus.
what I thought.
Some of them.
That's kind of what I thought.
Yeah, I think some of them might not be Christians. They think that they stick with the Jews and don't think that Jesus was the Messiah, I suppose. I mean, that sounds like Ron.
Right.
So, yeah. The Black Hebrew Israelites, the main thing they believe is that they are the Israelites. That they and the Mexicans and American Indians, well, particularly the American Indians, and maybe some others, are the different tribes of Israel.
Okay.
which is crazy enough.
So all of the people that were slighted as we colonized this part of the world.
Oh yeah, exactly. Victimhood. Because they read the Bible and they consider their plight to be what is written in the Bible.
Yeah.
Isn't that silly?
Well, I mean, they were led to believe that by somebody else.
Indeed.
I mean, most of what we ponder on and think about, adhere to, was it was introduced to us.
That's a fact.
By somebody.
Right.
Kind of crazy, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, we're not too different from the Black Hebrew Israelites. There's flat earthers here, for goodness sakes. And then there's the big lie, as I've repeated many times. The big lie is anger, and everybody agrees. Is identifying.
Oh, yeah.
The big lie is identifying with yourself, if you will.
Yeah.
Period.
Right.
Because everything is a misidentification.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What a mess.
So you want to hear something? I won't say it's funny, but it's disturbing for sure.
Okay.
But so this young lady that I've been involved with for the last 5 years or so, she said that her mother told her. So I'm 50. I'm 56. Her mom's 75, something like that. She says that her mother told her that I tried to hit on her some years ago.
That you tried to hit on her mother?
Yeah.
And this gal is your girlfriend? That is repeating this accusation?
Yeah.
Does she believe it?
Yeah. On some level, I think that she must have. So I guess it went under the radar for a while, and then yesterday they spent some time together, and she went and asked her mother again, and her mother said, "Oh, I never said that," So, and she girlfriend got all bent out of shape about it. I just think it's weird. First of all, if her mother did make some kind of a accusation about me to her daughter,
Yeah.
but I do think that this particular parent separate her daughter from everybody, because she wants her to be miserable alongside of her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't say she thrives on it, but she's told her before, told her own daughter, you're going to die alone.
Whoa. Like that's a bad thing. Doesn't everybody die alone?
I mean, yeah, that's true. But you know what I mean?
That's a nasty thing to say because that's a mean-spirited thing to say.
It's
I
not
don't know
very
if...
nice.
What's that?
It's not very nice.
Right.
It's not right.
Yeah. Unless it was a righteous man telling her that. But the righteous man doesn't really know that, other than that in the sense that everybody does die alone. As Madonna saying, everyone must stand alone. You take this path on your own. Yeah, on this earth, you're married to your husband, and you're committed to your husband, if you're married as a woman.
Right.
And then, but your soul, it's just you and God, or you and Satan.
Yeah, but today's the girlfriend's birthday, so shout out. Happy birthday. I don't think she listens. But,
happy birthday, girlfriend. Cool.
Yeah, I see it more clearly, I guess, in her and in other people about listening to the thoughts.
Yeah.
I definitely battle with it myself, but I'm much more aware of it now, and I can definitely observe it in other people, and it's like it's uncanny how devoted they are to it, and how guided they are by it.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
It totally is.
Pretty wild.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time, man, and happy Men's History Month.
Thank you. To you as well.
I appreciate you, man. You have a great day, okay?
All right. Take care. Very cool. I'd like to get to David in Ocala, Florida. Another David, King David. How you doing, man?
Hey! Wow, I didn't expect to get on that quick. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Happy Men's History Month to you.
That's right. I got a few.
I respect my elders.
Oh, you respect your elders?
I'm laughing because I'm laughing because there was one of the guys said he respects his elders, and that's why he doesn't say anything. and what's funny is older men, I don't know, I'm a little bit older, right? I'm an older man, if you will. And I see younger men, and I see them as my peers, pretty much. Occasionally I'll realize, oh, they're young. They don't realize some stuff. But still, I don't see myself as really much different from them at all. And I imagine that men in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, too, see young men as pretty much the same as them.
Yeah, it just depends on it depends on the kid, the guy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
You can't mirror yourself after some purple-headed, nose-eared freak, that shows up trying to sell you an alarm system, at your house.
That's fair. Yeah. Get
out
of here, young punk.
Yeah, if I could tell, if I wish somebody, at least I had somebody tell me, hey, David, you need to get a house paid for by the time you're 60.
Uh-huh.
And I will have my house paid for by then.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, right. I only owe like 15 grand on it, so that's pretty much done. But anyway,
Nice.
I wish I could tell young people to save some money.
Yeah.
Even if it's just even if it's just $10 or $20 at a time that you just put in a savings account.
Yep.
Just do it, man. Because when you get older, like say 55, you'll be like thinking, man, I'm glad I saved all that money.
That's that's really great advice, man. And I do see you in the chat exhorting me and others. And whether I take it or not, whether I take the advice or not, that's shame on me or good on me. But I really appreciate that. That's cool.
Well, statistics. I saw a statistic, and I don't know if it's true or not, but the average age of a home buyer right now is 51 years old.
Wow, and that is.
And it used to be 31. Now, when I bought, it was 36, and I was 32 years old when I bought my house.
So you were a little ahead of your time for your age group on average for the time.
Yeah, because I had a really good job at a Toyota dealership, and so I had been there 5 years. And I told them, I said, listen, if you can't get me approved, you're not going to get anybody approved because they put you through hoops,
Yeah.
And then again, see, my house was only 80 grand in 1997. My same house now is in Florida is 350 grand, 325, somewhere in that neighborhood.
And you know what's interesting is that like money is getting so cheap, meaning money is becoming so worthless.
Yeah, go watch those old game shows where they win $5,000, okay, and they go crazy. Okay, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, because like a car back in the early 70s was like $3,500. So anyway, I called because and I'm not trying to start nothing with William or anything like that, but William brought up Robert McNamara yesterday.
Okay.
As men's history guy, and since my dad was in Vietnam in 69 and 70, okay, in the 9th Infantry, and got a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star, I have no respect for Robert McNamara or LBJ. Okay,
that's fair enough. So Robert,
they're both, Robert McNamara. Now there's videotapes. Now there's people put on YouTube him and LBJ speaking in the Oval Office.
Yep.
About killing Vietnamese.
Yeah.
Okay, people. All right. And I just want to know when America's going to wake up. If you go over and invade a country, okay, like we do, we invaded. Invaded.
What did you say? Your father fought in Vietnam?
Yes, he did. He was in 69 and 70. Yeah, I got his combat infantry badge medal, and he gave it to me when I was about 8 years old, and I used to go show it to all my friends. I thought it was something. It's a famous medal they got. It's a rifle. It's a blue rifle. Anyway, old musket on a medal. It's anyway. But McNamara and LBJ were just terrible people.
Yeah, I wasn't prior familiar with Robert McNamara. But I was familiar. I had heard of LBJ because Lyndon Baines Johnson, he pushed the Great Society mess, I think, like that.
Right. The Immigration Act of 65.
Oh, he did the Immigration Act of 65.
I believe so. I believe he was involved in that.
Wow.
And see, he had money invested, supposedly. I mean, I don't know for sure, but he had money invested in Bell Helicopter. Okay, and that's what those Huey helicopters came from. That's where those came from. That war was nothing but about money. And like 59,000 young men were killed there, and then a bunch came back maimed and all messed up in the head.
Yeah.
I caught the tail end of that as a kid. I told you, I started partying in like 1977. So, I met my friends as brothers and those kind of things. Anyhow, did you see that? Did you see the wreck where that illegal tried to turn a semi truck around in the middle of the interstate in Florida?
I heard about it on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. I saw a picture of him, like a mugshot or something, or a driver's license. And then I saw footage of it, I think, on like American Anchor Baby. where this guy does what the producer
a U-turn in the middle of the interstate.
Yeah, somebody called it an outrageous U-turn in the middle of the
Yeah,
interstate,
yeah.
meaning on the freeway. You're not supposed to do U-turns on the freeway. How did he even get across the divider? Did he get across the center divider?
Well, he didn't. No, because it's angled. Okay, so you can't do it. You know what I mean? So he got caught up in it as soon as he, the front of the truck, got in there. He got stuck, and then those people were just going along. Boom. There's another one. I think it was in California or something, where one of them was drunk in a semi and started driving on the left-hand side of the road, and they got back over to the right, but then they got back over to the left on a hill, and 3 motorcycles came over the hill and freaking hit the semi-truck.
Wow.
Killed 3 people. So, man, Trump was right about them letting all these people in here. They're just destroying our country.
Yeah. What a mess.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
Yeah,
that's a ridiculous move. I was listening to Anchor Baby talk with, who's the trucker? One of the truckers, Josh in Georgia, I think it was yesterday on the show. And because Josh is a trucker, and he says that, there's a lot of Indian and most truckers that he knows are foreigners. I didn't know that it was like that. And a lot of them are like, former criminals too. I didn't know that. I knew of one foreigner, trucker who was like Salvadorian. He came over here, brought his family over here, and he was always gone because he was a trucker, long haul. But I thought of truckers as being mostly white, but I guess not. There's a lot of black truckers, and many black truckers and others truckers listen to the JLP show and the Hake Report. But what a mess.
Right. Well, the black truckers is okay.
Yeah.
But these foreigners, I'm sick of it, man. I really am. I just, you go into a convenience store now, and now the big companies are buying up these convenience stores, putting these little ones out of business. Because you got like 7-Elevens real strong down here, and Wawa. Do y'all have Wawas up there?
I've heard of Wawa. I've heard of that.
Yeah. And then they got these huge, Circle K and these huge gas stations. You notice how they're all huge now? They're not little anymore. They want to make these friggin' where you got 35 pumps out there. Yeah.
Yeah, these monster ones.
Yeah, Blackrock probably got into that. Now check this out. Down here, we're noticing they're building these car washes everywhere. These huge car washes, and I'm like thinking, man, these people like Blackrock got to be getting into that kind of stuff. You got what I'm saying?
Maybe. I don't know.
They just suck everything up.
I'm a little conflicted because I actually really like those huge gas stations. Because I've run into them.
Yeah, they're easy to pull in and out of, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun because you go into the gas station supermarket, little market thing, and it's like there's a lot of selection, and it's big, it's fun. It has like, the reason I like it partly is because I stopped by one on the way to Vegas or from Vegas, Las Vegas, Nevada, and so it's just, and then there's little restaurants like Subway and other restaurants available right there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like going to a mall almost.
Yeah, right, yeah. Why did you go to Vegas?
I like to go to Vegas sometimes. I stop at Vegas, eat some pizza, and then I'll go in the early morning, or sometimes in the evening I'll go and camp, but I'll go to the Colorado River an hour past Vegas into Willow Beach, Arizona, and rent a boat with some friends, and we'll go up and down the Colorado River, and it's just beautiful.
Oh wow!
But
yeah,
Vegas is just
nice.
Vegas is just like a fun, the bright lights and everything. I've never gambled.
You don't go gamble or nothing, right?
No, I've never been into gambling. I don't know how. It's too much pressure. I'm not successful at it. I have no skills, and I can't hide my feelings.
I used to gamble with a game called Highlight and the Dog.
Okay.
That kind of gambling doesn't give me enough juice. Okay, you got what I'm saying? I would get,
So it doesn't get you overly hyped.
No.
So you don't get addicted.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't get that dopamine pump, okay, that I would get off of, because what I would do, like one time I went in, this is just one instance. I went in, it was the first race at Palm Beach in Florida, dogs, and I wheeled the 8, okay, for $42. So as long as he wins, I got the trifecta. The 8's just got to win. So the box opens up and the dogs shoot out, and this 5 dog, okay, shoots out. He's gone, and I look up and I see he's 52 to 1. The odds on this dog, I'm like, oh my God, And anyway, my 8 hunts him down, Hake, and catches him at the line and wins like by about 2 feet. Okay.
Wow.
Now I got this freaking 50 to 1 dog behind it, and it paid like $400. Okay. So that's what I'm talking about.
And then you quit while you're ahead.
Well, I play a little bit more in the league, but the biggest trifecta I ever hit, I hit the Kentucky Derby in 2006 with that horse Barbaro.
Yeah.
And the next race, he broke his leg. Okay, and the trifecta paid $5,709.
Whoa!
And I watched it come into my house. Yeah, it was a terrific moment in my life. You know what I'm saying?
That's
funny.
funny.
$90 to win $5,709.
That's some serious. See, that's what hooks people, and then they get hooked.
Oh, right.
Maybe this time. It's kind of like people scrolling on the social medias. Oh, what's next? What am I missing? The next one is the one that I really want to see. And sometimes it is.
Well, the reason why it paid so good was Barbaro was like 8 to 1, and he was in the 8th position, and I'm born on the 8th, so 8's my lucky number. So anyway, the second horse was 30 to 1. His name was Bluegrass Cat. Y'all can look this up if y'all think I'm blowing smoke. And the third place horse was Steppenwolfer was the name of the horse. They named him after the band Steppenwolf. Okay?
Hey, Born to be Wild.
Yeah. Right on. And coming down the stretch, that 2 horse was in 5th place, and he comes up and he gets in 3rd. That's how I won. Okay, so it was just awesome day. But hey, listen, I know you got to go. I got a white Men's History Month here for you.
Okay.
And this is something that you ought to check this out.
All right.
The band Pat Travers. Okay, you ever heard of him?
Say his name for me.
The band, it's the Pat Travers Band. You ever heard of them?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
Pat Travers Band.
Yeah, Pat Travers. Yeah, he's
Canadian guitarist, singer-songwriter.
Yep.
Voices of Classic Rock is another music group I guess he was in. Born in 54.
Yeah, born in 54. That's
71 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now he needs to retire. His voice is going. Their voice starts going out when they get that old.
Oh, well, you know who sounds okay still? That guy who sings "I'm proud to be an American," where at least I know I'm free. The pro-Trump guy. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And Lee Greenwood.
Lee Greenwood. So anyway, there's a guy from your area that was in that band. He's a great guitarist. His name was Pat Thrail. He's from the San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay.
You should really, yeah. And then he used to have one of the greatest drummers. Well, he's had many great drummers drum for him. That's why you should check him out. But Tommy Aldridge, who went on and drummed for Ozzy, and
nice.
That's on Crazy Train. Okay, drum for Pat right before that.
Okay.
And then he had a bass player, one of the greatest bass players, named Mars Cowling. All right. So here, let me tell you this. You still there?
Yes. No, that was me.
Okay.
That was my computer making a noise because I did a search that gave no results.
Let me just tell you how crazy life is, man. Okay, real quick. This is only going to take like 30 seconds, okay? And I'll be off this thing, okay?
Okay.
That band had a famous live album called Live Go For What You Know, okay? And the last song on it is a song called It Makes No Difference. Well, anyway, my sister says, I got my 75 Trans Am, and my sister says, hey, can you take a couple of my friends home with me for me? They live like 10 miles away. I said, sure. So I load them up in my car, and I'm driving down the road, and one of the kids in the back seat says to me as I'm playing this Pat Travers, cassette, he says, hey, man, he goes, can you turn it down a little bit? The bass is killing me. Okay? So
Okay.
now, in 2010, I'm down in Clearwater going to see Pat Travers. And now this, he's got a completely different band and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, his original bass player shows up, this guy Mars Cowling that was the bass player on that tape. I was playing in my car that night, right?
Nice.
He comes walking in the bar and he sits down, and I'm standing there and I look over at him and I go, "You're Mars Cowling, aren't you?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Let me buy you a drink and let me tell you about this kid that was sitting in my back seat one night and said, 'Hey man, can you turn it down a little bit because that bass is killing me.'"
Nice.
Is that pretty cool or what? That, you know, now I was probably, that was 30 years old. I was like 17 when this went down, and when I met Mars, I was probably like 47 years old.
Wow. That's
And
funny,
life
man. That's
is
cool.
Your life is a trip, isn't it?
It is.
Right. All right, man. Have a great day.
All right.
See you later.
You as well.
All right, cool. All right, cool. All right, bye.
Bye. Interesting. Men's History Month. Very worldly stuff, huh? What a mess. Before I get back to the calls, I do see you guys. Hang tight. If we mosey on over to the Hake Report, I'd like to get to a little bit of the news because I found some of it interesting. You know, I read CNN, of course, okay? We read Commie Nonsense Network. And some of these news notes caught my attention. You guys heard probably by now. It was kind of old news by now. Yesterday it was kind of viral, I suppose, that Trump is going to paint the thing black. He's going to paint the wall black. Southern border wall will be painted black to deter people from climbing it during hot weather, according to the DHS secretary. That's that Kristi Noem gal, right? Look, isn't that nice to see razor wire? Razor wire is tougher than barbed wire because, meaning tougher on your skin, because it'll slice your skin rather than just puncture or poke your skin. And that's a good thing. If you try to violate the place, right? I'm not for people getting cut, of course, but if they do it, they just shouldn't do it. You know, cross the border illegally. A member of the military looks on in front of a newly installed concertina wire, which is to say razor wire, I suppose, or something like that. I wonder why it's called that. But I'm not going to get too distracted from that because I'm not autistic. Wire lining of one of the border walls separating Mexico from the United States. So they're going to paint it black because, you know, black stuff is hot, nice, fun. It's tall, very, very difficult to climb, almost impossible, also goes deep into the ground. Makes it very difficult and if not impossible to dig underneath, you know, tunnel underneath it. And today we're going to be painting it black, said Kristi Noem, a woman. She's the HHS, no, not HHS, DHS, Department of Homeland Security. What a joke. But under our greatest president, Trump, even she may be able to make it more secure, the country. News conference in Santa Teresa, New Mexico. Slatted steel structure. You know, they have to slat it in order so that wind can go through, I guess, and you can see through it. I think the main thing is that you can see through the wall. It's a see-through wall. It will make it harder for people to climb because it's hot. Ouch. Because people do climb it. It'll prevent rust on the steel, too, said Chief Michael Banks. Nice, the black paint. Hopefully it's good black paint. Sweet. The move to paint the wall comes after the Trump administration claims there were just over 6,000 apprehensions at the border in June, 15% lower than the previous record in March. Meaning a record low? Is that what that means? So, nice. Remember when Trump was first president, the first term? They just tried to overwhelm, which they kind of did, flooded the border. And it was pretty tricky to deal with them. It wasn't like Trump was just letting them in the way that Obama let them in. The slanderers, the anti-Trump haters, right and left, will cite Obama's deportation statistics to claim that Obama was tougher on immigration than Trump. But Obama was also letting them in, and he was giving amnesty like crazy. DACA. He tried to give DAPA, deferred action for parents of Americans, parents, illegal alien parents of anchor babies, rewarding them. But a judge struck that down. But DACA is in place, right? The dreamers, the children, the supposed childhood arrivals who are like my age, plus or minus. They've been in here like bumps on a log, or they're just liberal propagandists and liberal activists, or just liberals in, exploiting our system. So Trump stopped them coming. Okay, he stopped the bleeding. That's one of the first things you got to do. What good is deporting a bunch, as Obama supposedly did, if you're not stopping the hemorrhaging of the people coming in? What Obama was stopping was people being born with his Obamacare. My usual anti-Obama rant, right? Which the great men's history hero and white history hero, Congressman Steve King at the time, said, we don't want Obamacare to be subsidizing birth control, You subsidize birth control, if we don't have a growing population, we have a dying population, we have a dying civilization. That's anti-civilization. But Obamacare wants to subsidize birth control. Where these women have sex and then they don't have babies from that sex. Sorry, kids. That's what happens. Let me label this correctly because I got two Davids in a row. I'll do first David, the one from Texas, and second David from Ocala. Maybe I'll do first, second. I'm writing I like to, like I said, keep up with myself. I like to write my notes. Black wall, so cool. And then Obama and birth rates. It's a mess. Oh, we need immigrants because we're not having enough babies. And let's make it so that we don't have enough babies and subsidize birth control because women don't want to pay for their own lives. Shout out, ladies. I love the ladies if I love anybody. Okay, I do. We're suffering under the Obama economy. Kevin's right. Hake still blames Obama still for the economy. I do. Because Biden was Obama part 2. All right. Let me not get... Well, it's already too late. I already got too carried away on the Obama thing. So nice. The wall is painted black. Watch out for Hurricane Aaron, you people. More news, okay? Rip currents on the East Coast. Don't drown. Don't be like that Cosby young man who, in his 50s, drowned. Health and Human Services. This also caught my attention, okay? Health and Human Services... There was this letter by current 750, 750, right? Something like that. Current and former staffers. There was this CDC shooting. I didn't mention that in Hake News. At the CDC headquarters, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention headquarters. Purportedly by an anti-vaxxer, a nutcase, like a 33-year-old man, I guess, or a 30-year-old male. I use the term man loosely. Who was blaming the vax for turning him depressed and suicidal. And then he shot up the place and tried to shoot people, I guess, and killed a cop, a 33-year-old family man cop over at the CDC. And so they wanted to, because they're liberals, the people in the government are liberals, they're communists. Liberal communists, same thing in my mind, right? They seemingly trying to blame RFK Jr. because RFK Jr. is not as radically pro-vax as them, okay? It's ridiculous. Let me show you this. More than 750 current and former staffers at CDC. Do you trust government employees? No, I don't. I don't trust anybody. Even my supporters, I don't even trust them. But shout out. More than Okay, so CDC, NIH, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, National Institutes of Health, Health and Human Services. Imagine you have government organizations called those things. Demonic. Can you say 1984? Which is a book about the government running everybody's life or something like that. So, and it's also like wolves in sheep's clothing, evil mama stuff. We're here to help you. You know, it's like old Reagan said something like that. Oh, the scariest thing is a man or a woman saying, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. So they signed this letter to demand the work environments be safe from violence. Stupid. And public health. And I say that's stupid because it's already supposed to be that way, right? They felt like sitting ducks, by the way, because this guy showed up with a gun and none of them were armed because they're all liberal girls. I'm kidding around, girls and liberals and CDC people. I'm just being overly nasty towards you right now. The letter, I disclaim everything that I just said. The letter was addressed to HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and the U.S. Congress. They said the deadly attack on CDC's global, what? Headquarters, global homo headquarters, globalist homogeneity, okay? It doesn't have anything to do with, it's not a slur against homosexuality, okay? In Atlanta, oh, okay, well, maybe it is. Earlier this month was not random. Yeah, of course. Oh my gosh, random. Of course it wasn't random. We know that it wasn't random. It was by a nutcase who blamed other people for his problems. It's like if I were to go crazy and I'm like, Obama drove me crazy. It doesn't make sense. Even though Obama is evil, that's not an excuse for me to be crazy. The attack came amid growing mistrust in public institutions, quote, reads their thing. And whose fault is that? It's partly yours. I'm talking any CDC, NIH, and HHS current or former staffers listening to Hake. I say this in love, if I have any love at all. It's partly your fault that there's a mistrust or a distrust. Mistrust? Meaning we trust you falsely in public what does mistrust mean? I think they meant. What's the difference between mistrust and distrust? Whatever. Driven by politicized rhetoric, they claim, that has turned public health professionals, public health is a communist buzz phrase, from trusted experts, also a communist buzz phrase, into targets of villainization and now violence. And I, of course, not only disclaim, but also disavow unjustified violence, of course, right? But you guys are villains. It's like saying, oh, we're criminalizing homelessness. A lot of times the homeless stuff that they do is criminal. Same thing like with the blacks. Oh, we're criminalizing. They are criminals. They do it to themselves and their parents do it to their mothers. The staffers claim RF Kennedy was, quote, this is evil. This is that communist stuff. Complicit in dismantling America's public health infrastructure. Well, that part is fine because he did it, right? Which is a good thing. Complicit makes it sound like it's a bad thing. Infrastructure, communist buzzword, by the way. It's true. Now, don't necessarily believe me, kids. Those of you homeschoolers gonna go around calling everything communist. But I think that there's some truth to that. And endangering the nation's health by repeatedly spreading inaccurate health information. You know what? People don't trust RFK Jr. and don't trust the experts necessarily. Or as Reagan said, trust, I guess, but verify if you want to be nice about it. Reagan was nice, maybe too nice. I don't want to get censored, okay? So I'm going to say trust the experts, but verify. But when it comes down to it, don't necessarily trust them because your body may be different from what the norm is, and they're referring to the norm, not your body specifically. You know, so everything that they say is not necessarily going to be good for you specifically. They also expressed gratitude to David Rose And also, they might be liberals or liars or who knows what. Anyway, the DeKalb County police officer, David Rose, was killed on the August 8th attack. This is my first time even covering this CDC shooting. All these shootings happen like crazy now, right? Because of these liberals raising people poorly. Here's the guy who got killed. Black dude, I guess. I presume that's the guy who got killed. David Rose. Was he a Marine too? U.S. Marines? 33-year-old family man. Look at this ugly thing with this. Okay, nice. Remembering the fallen officer, David Rose. Anyway, they're trying to act like it's sort of a liberal thing to blame Patrick Joseph White of Kennesaw, Georgia, attacked the CDC's Roybal campus. Campus? Interesting word for it. Attempting to enter the headquarters, thwarted by security. Then he drove across the street to a CVS pharmacy, barricaded himself inside the second floor, and fired at the campus with a rifle. I disclaim, I'm laughing because of the shockingness of it. I'm not, of course, laughing. Anyway, striking 4 CDC buildings on multiple floors over 180 times, breaking about 150 windows. This is some serious stuff, kind of. Or at least dramatic, not necessarily traumatic. Piercing some of the blast-resistant windows. Whoa! Authorities recovered more than 500 shell casings and 5 firearms after the shooting. 33-year-old David Rose DeKalb, pardon my butchering of your county name, county police department officer fatally wounded by that Patrick Joseph White as he arrived at the scene. Ooh. Police officers entered the pharmacy and found Patrick Joseph White gone from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. What a terrible thing. Believed to have been motivated by distrust in vaccines, he believed the China virus vaccine, which he... Look, a 30-year-old man was a sucker enough to take it. Shout out to the suckers who took it, or people who took it. You're not all suckers. Hey, suckers didn't take it too. Anyway, he believed it made him depressed and suicidal. He had reached out for mental health assistance for weeks before the attack. Reached out how? What does reach out even mean? Fired but fighting. A group of laid-off CDC employees blamed the attack on anti-schmaxine rhetoric of members of the Trump administration. So they're liberals. Saying the Secretary of Health and Human Services, RFK Jr., is directly responsible for the villainization of CDC's workforce through his continuous lies, they call it, about science and vaccine safety. A mess. That's what happens when you have a very evil, divided, angry populace who hate each other and don't trust each other. And rightly, they don't trust each other. Not rightly do they hate each other. But the liberals and the pro-vaxxers hate the conservatives and the anti-vaxxers, and the conservatives and the anti-vaxxers hate the liberals and the Jews, if you, because a lot of people are like, it's not liberals versus conservatives. So, shout out to the Jew haters, or blamers, or critics. I'm tired. Okay, his father spoke with in an interview, saying he and his wife were watching a cable TV network in their Kennesaw home when the phone rang. He picked up the phone and attempted to have a normal conversation with his son. Patrick spoke to his father, saying, "I'm going to shoot up to the CDC," before hanging up afterwards. The couple immediately changed the channel to one of the Atlanta stations and saw the unmistakable image of his car. Oh, the young man's car, or if you want to call that a young man or a man, or his own car. Was the young man driving his dad's car? I don't know. But it is typical to blame, you know, it's like, it's more valid to blame Obama, because Obama was malicious about it, for the Black Lives Matter riots. But you can't really blame Obama for the riots. Yeah, or the, you know, just the smears that Black Lives Matter spread, because he too spread those smears. He participated in spreading the smears against the police, against the whites, and contributing to the ongoing brainwashing of the blacks to think that there's this racism stuff among the police. Ridiculous. This reminds me of another story, real quick. Okay, so that's the CDC shooting from CVS. I didn't know that. Blame RFK. Can we go back to hating on the blacks, says Nugget Man? Whatever, man. No, we love the blacks. It reminds me of this thing. There was some other story. Yeah, these parents. These ridiculous parents. Blaming. You know how I talked about the vaccine and blaming the CDC for you taking the vaccine and supposedly turning you depressed and suicidal. Pfft. You already had issues. You know what I mean? But these parents also, here's a lesson. This is a good lesson. These parents of these little girls who died in that flood in Texas the other month, 4th of July, going into the weekend. The parents of some of the 27 girls who died in that Christian camp. Camp Mystic? Doesn't sound very Christian. Who died when a catastrophic flood swept through Camp Mystic in July. They sat before a Texas State Senate committee Wednesday and called for stronger safety standards at youth camps. Quote, "Our precious, hilarious," this is a woman, "kind, caring." That's too many adjectives. I'm not even going to read that mess. Women. I shake my head. Right, Lin Yin Shin? Died because there was no plan, there was no backup system or sirens, because the counselors, sweet 18 and 19-year-old counselors, did not have the training they needed. They were told to stay in place, a rule that proved fatal, said this woman whose 8-year-old daughter died in the camp, perished, which largely sat in a flood-prone area. The parents were testifying about a bill, maybe in favor of the bill, that would require camps to have emergency rooftop ladders in every cabin in the floodplain and flash flood evacuation plans. The bill would also create a line of succession for officials in the event they're absent when a disaster occurs, okay? So hopefully this bill doesn't end up making people spend more money, but it sounds like it'll spend a little bit more money by law, right? You don't need a law where you have common sense and we have competent people doing competent things, you know, locals, competent locals. And I don't know anything about the locals or the leadership in this area where they had the flood, but I know that in general, this reminds me of Hurricane Katrina. It reminds me of the vaccine mess. It reminds me of everything, where you're just trusting that the government or the people running the show in the area know what they're doing. It reminds me of the people who went down into that thing that got imploded, the submarine trying to go down to that Titanic. They trusted that the people knew what they were doing, and that the Titan sub, whatever, was not going to go implode and kill them. You're not necessarily supposed to trust people, even companies or the government or experts, because they're not necessarily paying attention. They don't know your situation. They don't even know their own situation. let that be a lesson that you don't trust the government, the local government, the locals. Because if you looked into this area, you knew that this place had floods commonly. That in the 80s, there was a deadly flood, I think, in this same area. Right? Something like that. And they have things called monsoons down somewhere. I went to Arizona once. They had monsoons, which is a bunch of lots of rain, and it gets into your tent. And then you just sleep in the water. I'm chuckling about that situation. I'm not chuckling about the death, okay? So it goes with the, don't be a sucker. You see something awry or you know, what a mess. Everybody's doing it, though. Everybody's trusting, and 27 got killed. And more than that, actually, like hundreds of people. I feel like more than 100 of people died. Don't necessarily trust these people. They don't know. But they're looking to the law. Remember Hurricane Katrina? What I heard was the blacks trusted the levees, but what had happened to the levees? The levees broke. Or the blacks didn't even know that the levees were holding the water from flooding their homes or whatever. Like, didn't blacks die in Katrina? Down in the lowlands where the water got sort of deep? Did black people die after Katrina, right? Katrina came and went. Hurricane Katrina came and went. And then, but the storm swell remained for a little while, and then the levees broke, if I remember correctly. They represented a disproportionate percentage of the storm's victims, over 50% of the identified deceased in Louisiana being black. They're capitalizing the B. Black residents faced increased mortality due to socioeconomic disadvantages like lack of transportation, which prevented many from evacuating vulnerable, low-lying neighborhoods. Or maybe they weren't paying attention. Because you know how blacks are, and that's how many people are after the China virus. They're still having barbecues and stuff. They're not paying attention. They don't know. They don't even read the news. And I don't blame them. A lot of them, a significant number, did not own cars. And that's what they want us to do, is rely on public transportation. Pfft, pass. Systemic racism. See, it's ridiculous. Blame the government. Slow and inadequate response exacerbated the suffering. A whole lot of people evacuated. People evacuated, but they didn't evacuate because they trusted the government. Suckers. Bunch of basically Reddit bros. And then you get the government that is part of the problem and pretend like they're going to be the solution. So, flood in Texas, Katrina, trusting the government. Bad idea. And the companies. If there's like a company that runs these campgrounds or whatever. All right. That's enough. We're at the top of the hour already. Before I get to calls, there's one line open. I see you. You are seen. Okay? A little lower. What am I doing? I got to read a few super chats if you don't mind. And even if you do, I'm still going to read them. Over on... Where am I? Got quite a few over here. Someone bought 3 coffees, sharing a little cafecito. That is to say, little coffee. With some of my favorite podcasters. Keep up the good work. Hake, thank you, someone, with your 3 coffees. Tom bought 3 coffees. Hake, FYI, for your information. I was watching Punchie, and I realized that you are unintentionally one of the best trash talkers of all time. That's nice, Tom. Thank you. Tickled my ego. CSRCs are 3 coffees. Sup, Hake? I wanted to touch up on the whole vibrations and frequencies subject. Here's something I pulled from AI. The history of vibrations and frequencies goes back to ancient times with early philosophers like Pythagoras. You know, the Pythagorean theorem? That guy, I think. Exploring the concept of harmony in music and the universe. Hey, Kevin Howe, shout out. Reminds me of Kevin Howe for some reason. In the 17th century, scientists like Galileo and Newton began to study the properties of sound waves and vibrations. Today we know that everything in the universe is made up of vibrating energy from atoms to galaxies, says he. If you believe in galaxies. Galaxies are fake, space deniers. Yeah, keep believing that. There's also several ways to measure vibrations and frequencies. One method used by researchers is the MRI machine. Oh, I didn't know that was measuring vibrations or frequencies. It's used to study the vibrations of atoms in the body, and then they make an image out of that or something. MRI scan to see if there's something wrong inside your brain or head or something. Nice. Thank you for the information. And by the way, catch Punchie TV. It's available on audio podcasts, right? Pardon me, I had to cough. On Punchie TV YouTube. Punchie TV on the Bond Rebuilding the Man. Oh, man. Just call me Jesse. Shout out. If you go to rebuildingtheman.com, no, rebuildingtheman.substack.com, you can see, say you want to subscribe, you sign up in your email and you'll get updates. Say you don't want to subscribe, you just want to check it out, you can read about the silent prayer. You can see the latest Punchie TV episode. There are multiple podcasts, okay? So there's that's the Church with Jesse Lee Peterson podcast. Everyone is evil. It's the recent one. No one is good. There's the JLP Highlights podcast, which includes like the best of the week, all right? Audio podcast as well as video. And then there's Punchie TV podcast. And this is the recent one, Avoid Fighting. There's the guys there, the experts. JLP was on last week. This week was just the experts. Avoid fighting. Nice. So thank you, man. Thanks for checking out Punchie TV, and thanks for the compliment. I think that's a compliment. One of the unintentionally one of the best trash talkers of all time. I think that might be a reference because I was slandering. I'm kidding around. Sort of. I was maybe a little overly harsh with that gal, Riley, R-Y-L-I-E, Justice for Riley, the gal who got rejected based on her voice and message from some dating show. Nice. Thank you. Moving on with more super chats. CSRCs are 3 coffees. Continuing my coffee. Did you know there's a reason why suspenseful movies make us feel uneasy? It's because high-pitched sounds, that's supposed to be it's not nearly high enough, but that's supposed to be like with the high-pitched strings, you know, the sound effects, the soundtrack to movies, horror movies, whatever, suspense, thrillers. High-pitched sounds can create a sense of unease or tension in viewers due to their frequency. Is that why we can't stand listening to women talk? That's why I like a deep-voiced woman. This is because our brains are wired to associate certain frequencies with danger or threat, such as the sound of a predator's growl or a baby's cry. Filmmakers often use this knowledge to create suspenseful or scary scenes by incorporating high-pitched sounds into the soundtrack. Bringing it back to the video I sent you that sparked this topic, that guy talking about you think of something, it attracts more thoughts and it's vibrations or vibes. Negative thoughts can create certain frequency within us. Our thoughts and emotions are essentially energy, and they can affect physically the brain, the vibrations of our bodies and minds. Negative thoughts can lower our vibrational frequency, says he, while positive thoughts can raise it. This is why it's important to cultivate a positive mindset, says he, Cesar Caesar, and surround ourselves with uplifting people and experiences. So stay away from homeless people and don't get angry or else you'll get cancer, like JLP was saying. Smiley emoji. Stay positive, my friends, advises Cesar or Caesar. Isn't that nice? Sorry for the long coffees, Hake, says Cesar Caesar with yet another, but I really believe this stuff is real. Christy Noam is a bae, by the way. Robert yesterday was out of line, facepalm. And I'm going to need to podcast my 2 favorite Davids since I missed the calls. Have a wonderful show, man. Strong arm emoji. Thanks, man. Thanks for the support. And Yenrik Yagoda, your name, Anton, is black-coded, says he. You are honorary black. And he capitalizes the B in the word black. Yenrik Yagoda. And since he says honorary, it sounds honorable. Anyways, Unk. He called me Unk. What is the, which is short for uncle. Okay, I learned this just in the past few years. What is the appropriate response when someone is cringe or cringeworthy and they say a real life event reminds them of something they saw in a Marvel or Disney movie? Did you see what Trump did? It's just like Thanos. Insert Hake sanctioned response here. Be like, oh, Lord. Is that black? Be like, oh, Lord. I think that's an appropriate response. Or don't respond at all. That's even better. Just look at them. If you're in their presence. Or just look on, continue working. And just completely ignore them. If you're at work and the person at work is saying, did you see what Trump did? It's just like Thanos. Thanos is like a Marvel movie reference, like a bad guy who snapped and the universe disappeared or something. I don't know. The Marvel movies are kind of corny, seem like. They strike me as that. I haven't really seen many of them, at least not knowingly or on purpose. Some talented actors in there, though. And very high budget and well produced, you could say. I don't want to take away from them completely. But they do seem so, there's too much comic relief. The thing that I hate about them is that they turn these alpha-looking men into, like, obviously the betas that they really are. It's like, kiss up to, like, stuff. Politically correct, making light, like, breaking the illusion of manliness, being so relatably weak and pathetic. I shake my head. Thank you for your super chats, guys. That's nice. Sweet. Where am I? Let me make sure that I'm caught up with myself. Black-coded Hake. Anton Hake. Anton. Can I dox? I think I already doxed my great-grandpa who was named Anton, and he wasn't black. I don't think. I don't think he was black at all. He called himself Anton. But a lot of blacks are called Anton or Anton. And not only is it black, it's also American, which I respect. All right, so, and a Marvel cringe reference. Cringe Marvel reference, let's call it. Response. Oh, Punchie TV. Nice. My goodness. I respect all of you guys. I will try to get to all of your calls right now. Mitt, Australia. How you doing, man?
I'm good, my brother. I'm good. Hey, I just wanted to tell you and all your flat Earth followers a little bit of down to earth facts about Antarctica. We just had the Antarctic Explorer, which is part of the Sea Shepherd. They go out and look after the whales, and they fight the Japanese whalers, and they make sure they're not taking more than their quota. And if they do, they've got water cannons and all types of big spikes on the side of their ship and that. And they're not part of the Navy, but they're Aussies, they're pirates. But they just went around Antarctica. They sailed around it just to show you it's a continent. It's a continent twice as big as Australia. It's 2,500 feet above sea level. So if you go to Tasmania, you can see the wall on that. And but it's just a coastline. You know how Australia has a big coastline. It's just people taking photos of a coastline. So it's a continent. It's a continent twice as big as Australia. It's just really, really tall. It's not a wall that goes around the whole world. We just had the Antarctic Explorer go around the whole continent to prove it. So I just wanted to tell you all that.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. That's cool.
Yeah. And that's it, brother. So what? Tell me something cool. I don't know.
No, I can't tell you anything cool. But I really like your Antarctica story. I'm impressed.
You know about the Antarctic Treaty and all that?
No, I don't know anything about it.
It's all the major United Nations people have said you can do science you can have a science base in Antarctica, but nothing more than a science base. No military, no nothing. So we have our Navy that makes sure nothing goes anywhere near it. We have other pirate ships that are called the Sea Shepherds, and they've got about 6 or 8 ships, and they sail around making sure our coastline is secure. We've got the biggest Navy in the world, Australia. We've got hundreds of submarines. We were gifted a nuclear sub by Yaw. I was what is that? We don't want no nuclear sub. We told it it can't go over the shelf. It has to stay above the shelf. And if it tries to go above, it has special orders that it can't go above the shelf. We didn't really like that gift. We were having subs brought from France, and they were making our subs. And they were made from diesel. We can always make more diesel.
Yeah.
We didn't need a nuclear sub. I wanted to take that out of the water. But anyway, the last one people that used a nuclear sub were the Russians, and they put a pool in the back of their nuclear reactor. And they would, you shouldn't be that warm, that deep, and cold in the ocean. And they were sitting in warm pools from the nuclear reactor, and they all died from horrible disease, I'll say.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't go on any nuclear sub if you paid me $1 million.
Yeah.
I think they're on a 3-year mission or something. They just can't go above, over the shelf. So in case something happens to them, we can recover the core and get it out of there. If it goes over the shelf and sinks, we're stuffed. We've got nuclear stuff in our water that we have to come back to for millions or trillions of years of life. Anyway, we've got to look after Mother Nature.
That's true.
So it's easy to take a photo of the ice wall and say oh, it's a wall, but it's just it's a coastline, bro. It's a coastline of a huge continent that is twice as big as Australia.
Nice.
And if you go on there, you're going to freeze to death and die before you find anything cool. There's really nothing there.
Wow.
Honestly.
Pretty awesome.
Tasmania is beautiful. We've got Aurora Australis, I think they call it. I think you've got one up in the North Pole. We've got one down in the South Pole, where light just it comes into the air and these beautiful rainbows. You go down to Tasmania, the little island below Australia, you can see the light come through the air. It's beautiful. It's really, really, it's amazing. It's like a constant rainbow that just shines and glimmers in the air.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's called
What's your one?
Aurora Australis.
That's our one called. What's your one called up in the North Pole?
I think it's called Aurora Borealis.
There you go. That's right. That's exactly right. Aurora Borealis, and then Aurora Australis. So they're the two. And so it's like we have the light trapped at the North and South Pole, and like when Earth loves enough, I think that's going to come to the whole light of the whole planet. Is what I hope. That's what my psychedelics tell me.
I was wondering if you were going to bring up your psychedelics. I disclaim. I was trying not to bring up your drugs because you told the flat earthers, the spinning ball deniers, the truth about Antarctica, and I didn't want the ball earth suckers to be like writing you off just because you're on drugs.
I'm not on drugs though. Honestly, it's like 3 a.m. in the morning. I don't drink alcohol.
Nice.
Like I smoke a bit of weed and that, but like
so do they.
I'm not on anything.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh,
man.
it's cool, straight.
Well, it's great hearing from you, man.
Love you all. Good to hear from you too. I'm watching you every night. I haven't spoken to you in like a couple of weeks. I only ring every like month or so, and I just wanted to
how do you call? How do you yeah, how do you call?
I put it in the chat because this guy called Groovy wanted to call as well, and
nice.
you do +1. Actually, he's an Aussie guy from Western Australia. I'm from east coast of Australia, and he's from over in Western Australia. They've got this like shark thing, this whale shark thing that they swim with in Western Australia. There's really nothing over there other than that whale shark. The East Coast is where all the cool stuff happens. But okay, so you press plus and then 1 because America is +1 in the I don't know why we're +61.
Right. There's like 001 or something like that. If you want to call, is like I forget. But anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So you do a plus and then you go 01 and plus and then 1 and then you put the number in. And then like 88 whatever it was 88 whatever.
Yeah, 888-775-3773.
There you go. And then I literally just call, and it's my service just gives me 150 hours of overseas calls in case you have a lot of people in Australia. We're very multicultural, have families overseas, so
that makes sense.
A lot of our plans to have service plans have overseas hours and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, just be built into the plan.
Right on, man. Well, I'm glad that you got through, and I appreciate the tip. That means that you have international minutes, or really hours. On your phone plan. So yeah, if you guys get a phone plan that has international calling, then you can do that. That's one way. Nice.
100%. Just on your mobile phone.
Yeah. Right on.
Awesome.
It's not free, but it's built into your plan that you already pay for.
It's free.
It's free. It's free in that you're already paying for it regardless for you.
Yeah. If I don't use it, it's like, you know what I mean. And I won't use 150 hours. That's just
yeah, that's a lot.
Exactly. And I don't know that many people overseas anyway. So
right.
And I'm usually on TikTok when I'm talking to people overseas anyway. But anyway, I love you, Hake. I'm going to let you keep ruling the world, and I'm watching you. And I'm going to stay up till 9 o'clock because I've got to go pick up some medication.
I wish you well, man.
Love you. And have a beautiful rest of the night. It's 4 a.m. or you have the rest of the day. It's the morning for you all, eh?
It is. It's 10:30 in the morning almost. So it's about 4:30 where you are, I guess.
Have a lovely, wonderful, lovely rest of the day then, because I'm staying up all night. I'm staying up till the sun comes up.
Well, right on, man. Take care.
Thanks, brother. I love you, Hake, mate.
All right. Bye. Wow. I got to get to Alan from Michigan, who's on the line here. Alan, thanks for calling and holding, man. How you doing?
Oh, always a pleasure, because I get to listen to the callers before.
Nice.
Boy, they get me fired up, especially that, what's his name? I keep notes. David from
Ocala?
Ocala.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me of Mark. Haven't heard him for a few days, so that's okay.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to call today, but then guess what happened? I go out to the mailbox about a half an hour before the program starts, and my coffee has arrived.
Nice. Punchie's coffee. Blacker than black? Oh, no.
Blacker than black, and I'm having the last. Very good. And, of course, I can't help but say this about the super chat where they called you, the B, you're like considered a capital B black.
Right.
You know, the old saying. And once you go black, you never go back.
That's funny, man.
I joke.
Yep.
But be that as it may, there's so many good callers and so many things. It's a target-rich environment to reply to this stuff.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to make one. I know I haven't heard Mark in a few days, but I got a lot of respect for him. He's got some great war stories, and I really he had mentioned J.B. Stoner. Now I knew about. I heard a story about him meeting with the Muslims. I didn't know the actual scene that he had, and I found that very interesting. So I'm going to throw something back to him because I have met at a meeting David Duke years ago. So, okay, I'm just exchanging war stories here. Okay. Am I coming through okay? I know
you are. You're coming through fine. You sound great.
Okay, because sometimes the towers around here get a little wonky.
Yeah.
There's so many subjects, and you had mentioned you wondered if Jesus trimmed his beard.
yeah, his neck.
And they don't know what Jesus looked like. Well, actually, we do. I have a book, it's the Archco volume, and it was printed in, I think, 1889. And it is contained in the book is a letter of Pontius Pilate to Caesar. He had to send letters, what's going on and everything. And he actually gives a physical description of Jesus.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. And it's a very short thing here, and I'll just quote it. He says, Jesus of Nazareth spoke rather as a friend to the Romans than of the Jews. One day in passing by the place of Shiloh, where there was a great concourse of people, I observed in the midst of the group a young man who was leaning against a tree, calmly addressing the multitude. I was told it was Jesus. This could easily have been suspected, so great was the difference between him and those listening to him. His golden-haired beard gave a appearance of a celestial aspect. He appeared to be about 30 years of age. Never have I seen a sweeter and more serene countenance. What a contrast between him and his hearers with their black beards and tawny complexions.
Whoa.
Now,
Shots
okay.
fired.
So in any case, that it does exist. There's a lot more about Pilate. Very interesting. I believe that Pilate was actually a descendant of the Israelite people because he was from Spain.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Boy, open mouth, insert foot. He was from Spain and a soldier and everything. And the word Iberia means the land of the Hebrews. That's where a lot of our people had migrated to, including over the Caucasus Mountains, which is where we get our name Caucasians, and into Europe. And the different place names that have been given, like the Dnieper River, and the Danube River, that's named after Dan. But again, I don't want to get off on that subject because, again, as I said in a previous call, I don't go by any salvation by race theory, although it's very important to know who the people are. I'm more interested in getting the news out of the gospel and the truth of Scripture for everybody, just like Jesse.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's just it's not even important.
And the thing about the anger and obsession that Jesse talks about, I'm not going to modify it, but I would say I certainly think and accept the idea of righteous indignation. It's not an anger that eats at you. And I've seen that happen to people, and it's not a good thing, and you have too. And Jesse has too. In fact, my goodness, he counsels people to get them out of that mode of thinking. But righteous indignation has to do with not personal things, but you're seeing something, this is not right, that's happening to everybody or to certain people.
Yeah, but you just have to pay attention, because people, even when people are judging something as not right, they're pridefully judging it as not right. They're feeling puffed up about it. They are thinking they're better. They're looking down on. They're playing God. So even when it's not even something that's personal against them, there's a deception that you're, say I'm angry at what's going on in the world, at something Obama is doing. Nothing Obama is doing is affecting me personally, but I'm mad at him because of the principle, because it's wrong. And that's not a righteous indignation. That's a self-righteous indignation.
Right. The holier than thou attitude. It's a very fine line. And which brings me to another point I want to make. I've talked about the oives, the Jews and everything, but I don't obsess on it. And I think there's a point where there's a much more nuanced and deeper thing with this about the Talmud and the Jews and everything. I'm telling you, any religion, and I happen to believe that Christianity is the only true religion, I would say if I'm going to attack the beliefs and systems of the Talmud, I'm going to go after the Hindus, because they have a sect of Kali called the Thuggee. In fact, a man wrote a book about it called Thugs and Communists. And also there's a group, every religion has these perverted ideas in them, and they're very similar to each other. And the idea is theft, murder, self-aggrandizement, anger, all the other things that Paul talks about and Jesus talks about, the apostles talk about, the negative things in the world. So it's far more nuanced that perhaps this recent uptick in against the Jews by many people, they're just, look what they're doing in Gaza, what they're doing here and everything.
Yeah.
Maybe they are being used by even the higher-ups as cannon fodder. In other words, the Rothschild or whatever, the Sassoon family in the Orient, the people in India who are at the top are using these people. Well, see, we're going to cause a fight between Jews and whites, between whites and Muslims, and we're going to sit back and we're going to have all this stuff going on, and we will triumph in the end. Of course, I read the end of the book. I know they don't.
Nice. Yeah, I've thought about that type of thing too, because never mind even the people being higher up, Satan is leading all of these people, and he's leading the pro-Jews and the anti-Jews. And so right now it's the trend. It's very trendy to be anti-Jew right now. It's also trendy to be pro-Jew, but it's very trendy to be anti-Jew right now. And jumping along with the trends and or hating period is of Satan. So
absolutely,
whatever the case, it's going to be, you think you're awake because you see the truth about this or that, but you're not awake because you just found out some facts and now you're puffed up on this new discovery that has you on a new kick. So
right.
Yeah.
Right. And I would.
But
just,
you're right. People do use that.
Yeah.
People will harness that evil energy and direct it in toward their own ends. very often.
Exactly. One of the things that I think it's been mentioned several times about how the Jews have been expelled from different nations and areas, and I think there was 109 nations over the last 2,000 years have expelled them, 1,000 something.
Right.
All true and all that, but they always come back. But who's allowing them back? Well, I know that when William the Conqueror came over to England in 1066 and conquered it and drove out the Anglo-Saxons, which is very interesting where they went. But in any case, there was like 700 ships, 300. It was a tremendously expensive proposition, and he apparently was financed by the relatives of the Rothschilds from Amsterdam to come and do this. So he let them come back and start practicing usury, and of course it ended up with the Bank of England, which has done much to destroy the British Empire. It's even come over here. That's a whole different story.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into it. And I look at the people here and, the Jews control the money. Well, a lot of them do.
Yeah.
But who's behind them? A lot of these families are what they call the Eastern Establishment, and they're Anglo-Saxon, Protestant, supposedly Germanic people. So they're using the Jews as I would say cannon fodder. Now, I'm not saying the Jews are incorrect in their religion or anything, but neither are the Muslims, neither from a Christian standpoint,
Right.
the people in India, Hinduism, Buddhism, all these others, they're false paths. But the fact is that there's people above them that are using these people as their like cat's paw or proxy, like in Ukraine. They're using these people. Mm-hmm.
What you're talking about too, it's not just the powers above them, if you will, who are using them, but also the suckers ourselves. The way that we live serves their ends. It's kind of, this blaming of the Jews reminds me of blaming of the drug dealers. The drug dealers are to blame for what they do wrong. Yes. And same thing for what Jews do when Jews do wrong. But there's people, Jews are to blame for they're behind much of the pornography websites, some people will point out. But what about the people using the pornography websites? They're to blame for using it. They're to blame the people who take out loans that they can't pay back and then to get themselves in a predicament. They're to blame for their own situation. Shame on the people who exploit them, but shame on them for opening themselves up to exploitation.
Right.
Shame on the drug user just as much as the dealer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You hit it right on the
evil.
head.
Everybody's evil, and they all play a part in their own evil world.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
man.
I will just a quick thing. David from Ocala. Yes, I don't believe that because Vietnam was my generation's war.
Oh, okay.
And I knew my next door neighbor was over there, and he literally suffocated to death. I believe it was from being exposed to Agent Orange, which enriched 3M and Dow Chemical.
Wow.
And the people own the stocks. I had another fellow I worked with. He never came back. And if I ever were to see that wall of Vietnam vets, I would like to look up his name. I'm sure he died over there. I know another fellow who went nuts. He got a Dear John letter from his girlfriend, and he deliberately exposed himself to the enemy. Thankfully, or by God's hand, the enemy thought he was being used to draw them out, and they refused to fire at him. So when people start talking about the Vietnam War, I start to get a little well-eyed about it because I know people who have suffered from that.
Yeah.
And also, as David Ocala says, 59,000 people in this essentially was a humongous money-making ritual murder.
Wow.
And as all wars are.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it there. And Okay, there was. Oh, and Johnson, President Johnson.
LBJ.
I have a book called LBJ. I have a book. It's very rare. It's a paperback. It's called Texan Looks at Lyndon. And you read that book, and it really talks about his manipulations and the things that he did in Texas and in the Senate. By the way, he's the one who wanted, in 1954, had the code, the IRS code changed so that no church could get an exemption from the IRS for their 501c3.
Oh, yeah.
If they talk politics.
The Johnson Amendment.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And with that, I will leave and stop my bloviating and let other callers come in. And, oh, my goodness, only 20 minutes left. Yeah. Thanks for taking my call and taking the time with me.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Happy Men's History Month. It's actually less than 15 minutes to go, I believe, right? I can't read an analog clock. Rick in Hampton, VA. Oh, Lord, Rick is not ready. Let me get to Jermaine in Canada. Somebody check on Rick for me. He got something going on. Jermaine, thanks for calling. What's up? Are you there? Jermaine was on hold forever. I'm going to give him a moment because he's probably on mute like a boomer. Jermaine, are you there? Or he might not even be there. Let me go back to Rick. Rick in Hampton, VA. Thank you, Rick. Check on Jermaine.
Brother James, thanks for taking my call, man. I'm a squirrel. James, I'm here. I'm sorry you hit me, man. But
I was too quick.
And I apologize. But I'm glad you got me on here, man.
Nice.
But, man, I want to go in, man. You know, everybody want to hate the Jews.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's with
they
that?
Say they producing porn. Well,
right.
I would say this: if it wasn't a huge demand for it, matter of fact, then they say porn is about so many billions of dollars industries.
That's what I heard.
People just doing it on their own.
Yeah, there's all kinds of, you know how these advertisers will pay to be seen, and I don't get it. I don't know how they make any. I don't get how advertising. I mean, I suppose some suckers are gonna see an ad and then go buy something, but it's got to be not very common. But yet they'll pay top dollar to be to be seen. Interesting. And so I guess that's how they make money.
Yeah.
Or maybe people are
advertising.
Actually, people are paying.
Advertising, Doug. Go on, go ahead, James.
It's not just advertising. Actually, people are paying women literally directly. The end user is paying the women directly, kind of. Well, at least through this service, that the service is making money and the women are making money. What a mess.
James, I'm telling you, when there's a demand, somebody's going to supply the demand.
That's true, man. It's kind of like the Mexicans. The Mexicans say
the drug cartel.
Yeah, if the Americans, so-called Americans, didn't want to use the drugs, then the drug dealing and trafficking would dry up. Yep, we got to get a hold of ourselves.
We got to stop getting high. Everybody want to get high.
Yeah.
And you ask them why you like that. In fact, Jesse had on a show. Can you hear me, James?
Yes, sir.
Jesse had on a guy was smoking marijuana. And Jesse asked, why you do it? He said, because I don't want to stop.
Yeah, he likes it.
You know? Yeah.
He said he enjoys
the reason is, yes.
Yeah.
As long as there's a demand, even in anything. I'm an HVAC guy. There's a demand for that. You're going to go into a field where there's a demand. You're not going to go into no place that ain't no demand because you ain't going to make no money.
Right.
You know, it's about supply and demand, just like the Mexicans said. You know, I think President Obama was hollering at the Mexican president, y'all guys need to stop these drugs. But that president turned right back around to President Obama and said, well, y'all stop getting high, and it wouldn't be a demand for it anyway. It wouldn't be the El Chapos and the Pablo Escobars if there wasn't a demand for it.
Right.
I mean, it's $1 billion industry.
Wow.
You know, people, I mean, so is porn.
Yeah.
It's $1 billion industry. And there's, I mean, it just, as long as there's no demand, these people, they'll fade off. And blaming the Jews, what they say, they providing pornography.
Yeah.
Now they supplying the demand what people want. That's why movie stars make so much money, because everybody's heart is into entertainment.
Yep. Totally.
You And, you know, they always said, and then the teachers, to me, they should make good money. But like I said, people's hearts is not into the teacher. They give a teacher a pay raise, you got everybody complaining. Yeah, sure. Nobody tell them to go in that profession, all kind of excuses. But yet, entertainers make that kind of money. Why? Because there's a huge demand for entertainment.
Yeah.
That's why they make so much money.
Totally, man.
You know,
These people think that they're not evil. Blaming only the certain people for being evil.
the suppliers. They blaming the suppliers, James.
Yep.
You got it. They blaming the suppliers for a lust they have.
Yeah.
Instead of admitting they have a problem.
Remember that young man who shot up the massage parlors or whatever those things were over in some state down south? I feel like it happened in maybe Georgia or somewhere.
What?
North
Georgia?
Carolina. Remember there was multiple shootings at multiple like massage parlors or something. This young man went to these Thai massage parlors. I don't know what it was. And he shot up the place because he was too lustful. And he was a Christian. And he didn't want to. He was blaming them for existing. Because he got hooked to those massages or something. What was it? Anyway, it's the same idea.
I'm going to go try and find that story. Man. Wow. I don't remember hearing that, but I'm not saying it didn't happen. But I just don't remember it quite that, Brother James.
Atlanta spa shootings, 2021, March 16th. A 21-year-old Robert Aaron Long taken into custody later that day after 8 people were killed and 9th wounded. He pleaded guilty to the charges and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. He told police he was motivated because he had a so-called sexual addiction that was at odds with his Christianity. He spent time in an evangelical treatment clinic. He targeted establishments where he had previously paid for sex. 6 of the 8 people killed were Asian women. He denied that race played any role in the killings. Which was
that was crazy.
Yeah.
The fact is he killed people.
Right. And he was but the problem was, like, he had this lust, and he had this guilt over this lust, and he blamed them and shot them for being evil. It doesn't make any sense when he's evil, and he's like taking it too seriously.
You know how Jesse says anger causes, a lot of most people addictions and problems, but I always, I thought it was funny, and it probably does cause too, like sex addiction and porn.
Yeah.
I don't think people be angry when they're watching porn. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people, when they're passionate and excited, they get all into that stuff.
Yeah, they get wired up. I mean, like, I don't see many people angry when they're watching porn. Now, it could be leading to that. That could be
leads
a
to
real
it for sure.
cause.
Yeah.
What would you say, James?
It leads to it for sure.
Right. And I guess the anger they have, does lead to sex addictions and
when people fight and then they make up, when a couple fights and then they make up and they never mind. I don't want to get too explicit. But they get all into having sex.
I know where you're going, yep.
Yeah.
And they be intimate and to seal the deal.
Yep. Terrible. He's laughing.
And that's just how it is, man. It's a demand because people have a lustful spirit for whatever product they want.
Yep.
From alcohol to drugs to sex, and everybody want to crucify the suppliers on the cross, but not, like you said, also crucify the people that wants it as well.
Yeah.
Sex trafficking wouldn't exist if people didn't want sex.
That's right.
Why people get into the sex industry, because people want sex.
Yep. Well,
it's all supply and demand. It's all about business. And ain't nobody going to get into no field, especially in business. It's hard to run a business, James. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're going to go into business, you want to make sure you make a profit, because it's not easy going into business.
That's true, man. It's rough. And just because they're better at business and they don't have the Christian values, that's not a reason to hate them.
You know what? I can give you an example. Pablo Escobar and El Chapo. Now, they probably will sell some illegal products, but if I wanted to learn about business and how to have a vision, I'll go to one of them guys. Because they was excellent businessmen, but they just were selling illegal products.
Yeah.
That's as simple as that. But they had the business mindset, had to have a vision, a business plan. I'll go to one of them.
Nice.
Even
Totally.
they selling illegal stuff, but they still have a talent that God gave them both. However, they just used it. The enemy you took their gifts and used it for his for his work, his kingdom.
That's right.
That's it.
Indeed.
And that's all what happened. And they like I said, if I want to learn more about business, I go to El Chapo. I say, look, El Chapo, I don't want to know how to sell drugs, but
Right.
I want to know how you had the vision.
That's
how
right.
you kept discipline to run your business. That's what I want to know. And just use it. It's like this, James. Eat the meat and spit the bones out.
That's right.
If you will.
Indeed.
You
Learn
you can learn off anybody.
Learn from the Jews and just don't adopt their unchristian values. Those who are unchristian.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is it. God created us all. God created us
That's
all
right.
with different gifts so we can help and learn off each other.
Indeed.
That's the whole thing.
Thank you, Rick. I got to run. Appreciate you, man.
Okay, James, man. Thanks for taking my call. Love you, brother, man. I'll talk to you tomorrow. God bless.
All right. You as well. Bye.
Yes, sir.
Nice. Boys and girls, ladies and gents, I got to start wrapping up soon here. Let me get this thing going over here. As we close down the show, American Anchor Baby is coming up next. I will see if I can get to the rest of your calls, but it's I have a 2 to 3 minutes till, so I'm starting to close things down. And let me make sure that I can. You scheduled there, Anchor Baby? Okay. I refresh. Let me see if I can refresh, because I like to set the redirect to you guys for you guys, so that you get sent over to American Anchor Baby. Hake, did you run out of archives to upload? I feel like I did. I feel like, though, I could have, or I could look for others that there might be several or a few or a bunch or a dozen or a few, couple maybe, I don't know, scattered that I could dig up and find. The Bond Archive Sunday services and JLP archive TV shows and things like that. What's up, Punto King? Want to salute you guys. Have to calm things back down. Okay, and I'm not stalling, okay? I'm not stalling. Very nice. Okay, so let me get to, I got to get to RUFINA. First time caller out of California. RUFINA, we only have like a minute. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll be as fast as I can. Can you hear me okay, Hey?
Yeah, real fast. Go for it.
Okay, I'm almost 100 years old, okay? And when I was a little girl, they used to teach us the real history. Okay, you understand?
Keep going.
And my hero was Frederick Douglass. He bought his freedom. He ran away after his slave masters teached him how to read. You hear me? He learned how to read.
So they taught him how to read, and he repaid them by running away? What a jerk.
Yeah, but he bought his freedom, though.
But I
He went
still
and
respect
paid
him because I was told that he was a respectable man, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure.
He was like a Christian. He loved the white folks. His wife was white.
Oh,
okay?
really? I don't know. I
was-
disclaim
he
this.
was mixed.
Take what you hear with
He
a grain of
wasn't-
salt. I don't know.
Well,
Thank you, RUFINA. I got to go. Nice talking with you. Happy
I was
Men's History
taught
Month
this
to
in
you.
School. They taught us this in
Right, okay,
school
she
when
can't
we
hear
were
me.
little.
All right. And the rest of the callers, Robert in Kansas. Priority caller tomorrow, I guess. Maybe. Bye, guys. Take care. Peace in the Middle East, or at least in your hearts. Maybe.